Hey guys, this is Josh F151 Tech back with another video. And in this video, I actually have some disappointing news regarding the Google and Android ecosystem. So let's actually get into this video. So as you guys can see here, I'm actually on a reliable source here, Android Police. And I'll leave the link down below in the description to this article. And I also have a link that I can leave down below in the description to this article as well to a YouTube channel called Explaining Android, and I'll actually leave the link down below in the description to his video that actually talks specifically more about this. So I'm just gonna get a quick video out and talk about this a little bit because it's very concerning, especially if you're a Android user that doesn't root their phones. I'm going to actually explain that in a minute here. So as you guys can see here, it says Google is making it easier for Android apps to detect and block side loading, so that's definitely not a good thing. So if I come down here, it says Android has seen a lot of changes over the past few years, with Google managing to put security, privacy, and AI at the forefront of its recent efforts. And while most of the changes are welcome, some would argue that Android is slowly losing its core identity as an OS that's truly customizable. Of course, that seems to be a cost that Google is willing to take as it tries to put Android into the hands of more and more consumers over the next decade. It says that with that said, siloing apps has pretty much always been a thing with Android, giving users the ability to download and install applications from other sources outside of the Google Play Store. So basically, guys, what I wanted to talk about in this video is they're actually starting to block side loading on Android, and this is definitely not a good thing. So if I come down here, it says new tools that make side loading apps harder. It says it's the news right here. You guys can read it for yourself. I'm not going to really read all of it. But the main thing is here, I can actually show you guys an example. This is actually the Chat GPT APK right here. I actually sideloaded it. I actually downloaded it as an APK, not actually on the Google Play Store itself. This is actually an APK sideloaded. And check out what actually happens when I open it here. So it tells me get this app from Play. It says to continue using Chat GPT, get it on the Google Play Store. So if I go back here, it'll basically take me to the Google Play Store. It doesn't do anything else. So I'll open it up again and show you guys. And as you can see there, it just keeps telling me that. So I'll tap on get the app. And then it gives you options here. It says update from the Google Play Store, or it says uninstall. It says the app installed on your device did not come from Google Play. You can update the app from the original source or from the Google Play Store. The app installed on your device didn't come from Google Play and won't get updates from Play. So basically, as you guys can hear the madness in my voice and everything, which I'm very disappointed in Google. I'm very mad at Google for this. I'm very upset about this. That's why I wanted to make a video on it, because I think it's something that we all need to know. So basically, Google is making it easier for developers to make these apps. Basically more like Apple. Is basically what they're doing. So basically, side loading is looking rather grim, if you will. So this is definitely not a good thing. The only thing that sheds a little bit of light and a little bit of clarity here is that they're actually leaving it up to the developers, from what I heard. And the Explaining Android in his video, he actually talks more about it, and he actually goes more into detail. But what I actually mean by that is they're not actually implementing it in every app or APK. So basically, that's a good thing. They're not making the developers do it for their apps. They're not telling them you have to do it. So it's basically solely up to the developers themselves. For example, I use Spotify for my music streaming. Okay, so I actually use the modded, version of Spotify, the mod APK of Spotify, and I also use the YouTube APK, the revanced, APK for YouTube, to be able to, watch YouTube and everything without ads. The same with the Spotify. I use the modded version of Spotify, to be able to listen to music, and stuff like that without ads and everything. But those are kind of in jeopardy right now because I have a feeling that a lot of the bigger dogs, if you will, they're going to actually, implement this. They're going to implement this, in their apps, because they're going to be like, oh, well, I don't want my app being modified. I don't want it being, modded or anything like that. So, it's not looking good at all, for Android. If this is going to be, a thing in the future, this is definitely not looking good. Especially for the bigger dog apps, like I said, if you will, if I, can call it that, which is basically true, like the bigger, apps out there, the well-known, the more well-known apps, like I said, like Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, ESPN, other apps like Amazon, YouTube, stuff like that, I'm sure that they're going to implement this, in their apps, and that's definitely not a good thing. The only way, that I can see, people actually getting around this, for me, it might not be that big of a deal because I actually root all my phones. I actually have a Google Pixel 8 Pro, and as you guys can see right there, I do have Magisk installed, and I have a lot of modules here, as you guys can see. So, I'm thinking that there's going to be a root solution, around this. I'm sure that there's probably going to be a solution, around this, for me. So it wouldn't really be that bad for me since I root all my Google Pixel phones. So, but the thing is, for people that don't actually root their devices, or anything like that, this is not looking so good, But like I said, there is, some, good things about it. Like I said, they're not actually implementing it in every app. They're leaving it up to the app developers themselves. It's not actually Google, making the app developers do this. They're giving the option. But like I said, when it comes to the bigger dogs, like Spotify, like the bigger apps out there, the more, well-known apps out there, like Spotify, ESPN, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, other ones out there, like ChatGPT, stuff like that, they're probably going to implement this more because they're going to be like, oh, I don't want my app being modified. I don't want it, being messed with or anything like that, so, there probably are going to be, ways around this, like I said, but, it might require root access in order to actually be able to get around it, it might require a Magisk module, or a rooted APK or something like that, to be able to actually get around this. But I'm hoping, that maybe somebody would, be able to get around this without root access, which is very possible as well, because there's a lot of things out there, that you can do on your Android phones or Android devices, that don't require root. For example, there's actually Shizuku, which I've actually talked about before. I actually think I made a video on that on my channel. It's actually a non-root, APK that actually allows you to use some, root APKs or root, modules without actually, being rooted. So, all hope is not lost here. Side loading is most likely still going to be a thing. But as you guys can see, as you guys can hear in my voice, I'm definitely not happy about it. That's the thing, I just wanted to make a video on it, and it's really not good, like I said, a lot of people actually said on the explaining Android video, like I said, he talks more into detail, he goes more into detail about it, that's why I'll leave a link down below in the description to his video. But I did actually see people on there, on his video actually commenting. They were saying, oh, well, I guess it's time to go back to rooting our phones again. And he said, he replied to the guy that commented that, and he said, yeah, it looks like it. So that's, definitely not a good sign, definitely not a good thing. But, for me, this is not going to be that big of a deal. But, you also have to take into consideration, there's other devices out there that can't be rooted. So if there's devices like, for, example, the Google Chromecast or Google TV, the Amazon, Fire Sticks, the Amazon Fire TVs, the Google, like I said, the Google Chromecast or Google TV, 4K or 1080p, whatever they have. Just any Android device, it's not looking good. That Google is, basically implementing these limits, if you will, and it's just not good. It's just not a good look for Android, because Android, for years has allowed this stuff, and that's the thing. A lot of it boils down to, is actually profit, because people are losing money, and stuff like that, and Google, understands that, and they're trying to, they're trying to make money, but the thing is, like I said, they're trying to make money, but like I also said, it's not really the end of the world, because it's not actually being implemented by Google. This would only be implemented, by the app user itself, by the app developer itself. So it's basically up to the app developers, if they want to put this in there, or not, so there's bound to be ways around this, I'm sure that there's going to be ways around this, whether it be in the root community, or it be in the non-root community, there's probably going to be, some way around this, I'm sure. So, I'm not really that worried about it, I'm not going to lose sleep about, over it or anything like that, but, I really don't like the fact that you might have to end up rooting your phone. Like I said, for me, it's not going to be that big of a deal, because I already root my phones anyway. But, some people can't root their phones, is basically what I'm getting at. Some people can't root their tablets. Basically, any Android device, some, devices are just not rootable. But like I said, it's up to the developers, it's up to the app developers. It's not really up to Google, if they do it or not. It's up to the app developers themselves. So it doesn't mean that this is going to happen for every app. It might not even happen for the big dogs, like I said, but most likely, it's going to happen for them. It's going to probably happen for Spotify. It's probably going to happen for YouTube, because that's a Google app. So, it's probably going to happen, for other, apps like ESPN and stuff like that. But I actually download most of my apps from the Google Play Store officially anyway. And if I want to patch them or something, I'll use something like Lucky Patcher or something like that, in order to patch them or something, or remove ads or something like that. So it's not really, the end of the world, like I said, but, it's just the fact that, like I said, it's your phone. I've talked about this before. It's my phone. I should be able to do what I want with it. Even if it is using modded APKs or, ad-free APKs or whatever, like that, you pay for your phone. So basically what I'm saying is, you shouldn't have to, try to get around, these limits. You shouldn't have these limits on your phone. You're basically, it's basically making it like an iPhone, and that's the thing. I'm not gonna jump ship or anything from Android or anything because of this. Like I said, I'm not gonna, move, back to iPhone, like I had when I was in high school. I'm not gonna do anything like that, because you can still customize your phone, and stuff like that, how you want it. And I kind of do, understand, in a way that Google was actually trying to have better security, on their phones and stuff, but, there's also, a fine line in, security, and also, worried about making money as well. That's basically what they're trying to do. They're trying to, have their cake and eat it too, is basically what they're trying to do. They're trying to, basically have more sales of their phones, but then, they're also trying to get, make their phones have better security, but, they're sacrificing, better security for, basically, BS features is basically what I'm saying. They're basically, they're basically taking away features for better security, which is definitely not a good thing. Especially when it comes to, people like myself, that like to use their their phones how they want to use their phones, like freedom, is basically what I'm saying. Like I said, you own your phone, so you should be able to install, basically anything you want on it. And I'm looking at you, Apple, which is definitely true. So, that's definitely why I don't, deal with, iPhones or Apple or anything, because I just think that they're so locked down, and they're junk. So, but that's basically all I got, guys. I just wanted to make, a video and talk about this. Like I said, I will leave a link down below in the description to the Android Police, website here, so you guys can read more about it for yourself. And I also will leave the link down below in the description to the Explaining Android video. Like I said, he goes more into detail about it, and talks about it. And he actually says at the end of his video that he doesn't really think it's going to be too impactful. But from what I read down below in his comments, he was talking about, with the other people down below in his comments. He was actually saying, like I said, one person actually said that it's probably, worth, starting to root your phones again. And he said, yeah, it looks like it. So that's definitely not a good sign. But, like I said, for me, it's not really that big of a deal because I do root all of my, Google Pixel phones. But, like I said, for other people, that can't root their phones, and like I said, not every phone is rootable, and not every bootloader is, unlockable. If you guys don't really know what that means, you can look it up on Reddit. But, basically what, rooting is, only able to be done, if you unlock your bootloader is basically what I'm saying. So, but that's basically the video, guys. Like I said, it's not, really the end of the world. I'm sure that somebody will probably find a way around this or something like that. Especially in the root community, I'm sure that somebody will find, like a Magisk module or something, make a way around this or something. Or they might actually make a way around it, without actually having to be rooted, which would be really good. So, there's always, that's the thing, there's always a cat and mouse game, when it comes to Google. It's, unfortunate, but that's how it seems to be. And, like I said, it does seem to be, kind of, worried about, it kind of seems to be when it comes to this, it kind of seems to be about money, is basically what it is. They don't want, like I said, Google doesn't want, like app developers, or not really Google themselves, but, the app developers, like Spotify, YouTube, ESPN, Facebook, Instagram, just, a whole mess of, other apps out there, like the big dogs, like I said, they probably will implement this because they're not going to want their apps being hacked and everything, which is kind of understandable in a way, if you really think about it, because like I said, there's so many people out there, that use modded APKs and stuff, in order to get, features for free. But like I said, there is going to be ways around this. I'm certain of that, whether it be a root method, or a non-root method, I'm sure that there's probably going to be some way around this. But like I also said, I'm hoping that, Google doesn't, implement this in every version of Android. I don't know, if this is actually going to be, implemented in every version of Android moving forward. I'm sure it probably will be, unfortunately, but, there's also, possibility that they take this feature away as well, because they've been known to do that as well. And if, enough people complain, which I'm sure that people probably will, especially people that use, modded APKs and stuff, probably will. But, if enough people actually complain about this, they might actually change their minds and, revert it or something like that. So, but, like I said, I'm not really that worried about it. I'm not going to lose sleep over it or anything like that. Like I said, they're mainly doing it for security reasons. But like I also said, I really, hope that it's not gonna, be a thing that's gonna be long term. That's the thing. I hope that they don't actually, implement this long term. And like I said, even if they do, there's still, chance that not every app is actually gonna do this. That's the thing. It's up to the developers. Like I said, it's up to the app developers. It's not actually up to Google. They're not actually implementing this in every app. It's not, in every app. I can actually open up the Spotify app here. I actually have the modded version on my phone here. and as you can see, I'm right into it, so it's not implemented in this app yet. And I don't actually have Spotify Premium, but it's acting like I do. Like I said, this is the modded APK. And as you guys can see here, I'm in my playlists and everything, and it's not giving me any pop-ups or anything. About talking, telling me to install it from the Google Play Store. So that's definitely a good sign. What I think they might actually do, honestly, because I read one of the comments that was actually down below in the explaining Android, and actually somebody said, well, to counter that, they might actually be able to change the API, settings in the app or something like that. I heard that they might be able to, like modify they would probably basically be able to modify the APK to be able to bypass that. Is basically what I'm saying. So that's a good thing. They would be able to do that without root access. So like I said, there's probably going to be ways around this, so it's not really that big of a deal. But like I said, also, if it's not a way around it without root access, that can be bad for people, that want to sideload apps on their phones, their tablets, their Google Chromecast or Google TVs, stuff like that. But honestly, I don't really sideload many apps on my Google Chromecast or Google TV. I do sideload some, but not very many. The only one that I really sideload is actually Kodi, so I'm not really that worried about it with that. And I don't, really use a tablet or anything much. I have a Windows computer, I use that, more than anything, in my phone itself, so, for me, like I said, it's not really that big of a deal because I don't really use any tablets or anything like that. I don't, worry about rooting tablets if I do have them, because I don't really use them, for anything, too big like I use my phone for. But, like I said, it is disappointing. But like I also said, there are, other developers out there that'll probably make a way, around this, like I said, whether it be a non-root method, or a root method, for me, it wouldn't really matter, if it was a root method or a non-root method, but for those of you that can't root out there, that's the thing. I'm hoping that it's actually a non-root method, that, people will actually be able to get around this with, when somebody comes out, with a workaround for this. But, like I also said, we shouldn't really have to do this. So I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of people that are upset about this. I'm definitely one of them. I'm sure you guys can hear it in my voice, that I'm definitely not a big fan of this. But, it is what it is. Like I said, there's not really anything, that anybody can do about it. The only thing that we can do, is wait for a workaround for it. Like I said, I'm sure that there's going to be some kind of workaround, for it, whether it be a root method or a non-root method. We're just going to have to wait and see. So, but like I said, I definitely will leave the links down below in the description to this article, and also to the explaining Android video. Like I said, he goes more into detail about it. But anyway, yeah, guys, like I said, just wanted to get this video out there. If you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. And until next time, guys.